White Island, Achilles Island. This is how in the era of antiquity the Greeks called Snake Island. The territory of the island is approximately equal to 20 football fields. This is a strategically important point of control and monitoring of the northwestern part of the Black Sea, cities and towns of the coastal strip of Ukraine, as well as trade sea routes, including grain exports. The Russian army captured Snake Island on the first day of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Among the attackers were the missile cruiser Moskva and the corvette Vasily Bykov.
The Russian warship proposed to change the route of the civilian vessels due to the fact that the area of the island is mined. Then we already understood that there was a presence of warship in the area of responsibility. But we did not see them, we only heard the negotiations.
Russian troops occupied a strategically important territory in the Black Sea in order to further attack the entire southern coast of Ukraine, primarily Odessa and Mykolaiv.
On the Russian invaders on the Snake Island, fire!
Ukrainian forces gave a powerful response to the offer to surrender, and not only the military.
Russian warship, go f*** yourself!
This phrase has become the motto of the Ukrainian resistance, and the Snake Island is a symbol of the courage of Ukrainians. Another symbol, only with a minus sign, the cruiser Moskva. In April 2022, the Ukrainian military hit it with 2 Neptune cruise anti-ship missiles from the Ukrainian coastal anti-ship complex. The flagship of the Russian Black Sea Fleet went underwater. This was not only a military defeat for the Russian army, but also a blow to Putin's reputation.
This is a ship that was used to cover the air defense of the group created there, in order to close the sky from our air forces. But from a military point of view, this cruiser is an aircraft carrier killer. Its element is the ocean. In the Black Sea, such a ship has nothing to do. They lost him, that's all.
After that, the partners did not hesitate to transfer the Harpoon missiles to the armed forces of Ukraine. The Ukrainian military used them to liberate Snake Island from Russian invaders. On the 127th day of the war, the Russians flee the island.
They requested an evacuation. The remaining parts of the units were evacuated, and they abandoned a lot of vehicles. Then they bombed their equipment.
The Russian military left $1 billion worth of equipment on Snake Island. They themselves fired at it with prohibited phosphorus ammunition. The retreat of the Russian invaders from the island in the Kremlin was called a gesture of goodwill.
Step by step, we will drive them out of our sea, from our land, from our sky.
On July 7th, the Ukrainian military raised a blue and yellow banner on the island. The news of the release of it coincided with the end of the NATO summit in Madrid, at which the Allies guaranteed support for Ukraine. Then UK's Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that the retreat of the Russians from Snake Island is a sure sign of the future victory of Ukraine.
Ultimately, it will be impossible for Putin to hold on to a country that will not accept his rule.
The deoccupation of Snake Island made it possible to organize the efficient operation of the grain corridor. Support for Ukraine in the world is growing, and Moscow found itself in complete political and diplomatic isolation. On international platforms, unambiguous and understandable words for the whole world are heard against the Kremlin.
I would like to address the Russian delegation using the words of the Ukrainian border guards. A Russian warship, go f*** yourself.
And this is a famous postage stamp. It has already become a subject of hunting for collectors all over the world. Ukrainian Postal Service won the World Post and Parcel Awards 2023. The postage stamp Russian Warship Go is on display at the Smithsonian National Postal Museum in Washington. Copies of postage stamps of Ukraine during the war are in the collections of leaders of states and heads of international organizations. Reported by Sergey Kulyas, Victoria Smirnova, UATV News.